what makes India different and superior, and what makes India the teacher of the world are the characteristic Vedic sciences. You know, Vedic sciences, there are 18 Nigamas, 120 Agamas, and 64 Divya Vidya. Extraordinary disciplines. Go to the next. Nigama. I will not go into detail. These are familiar. You can read any. There are 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur, Sam, and Atharva. You have 4 Upavedas: Ayurveda, which is medicine; Dhanurveda, which is military science; Gandharva Veda, which is music; and the Artha Veda. Artha Veda is that deals with meaning and polity, Artha Shastra, polity, society and polity. 6 Vedangas. Vedanga literally means sciences which are auxiliary to the Vedas, and they are very old, more than 3,000 years old, and they are sciences. They are sciences. Shiksha, phonetics; Chanda, meter; Kalpa, sociology; Nirukta, etymology; Vyakarana, grammar; and Jyotish, astronomy or mathematics. These, it was anybody who wanted to read the Vedas, he had to master these 6 sciences. Only then he could understand the Vedic statements. And Vedanga, then Uttarangas, 4 later disciplines which were considered necessary. Itihasa Purana. Itihas is history. Purana is old history. You know, Puranas are mythical narratives. Itihas are narratives of what happened. Itihas literally means this is how it happened. This happened. And Purana means this is what happened in the earlier times. I don't have time to go into why the Puranas are all narratives are all mythical. You see, the Indian mind was not interested in the individual, but they made a mythical, that is generalized it in a symbolic manner, so that the conclusions you draw from an episode or episodes are applicable to all mankind, and not individuals. So Puranas are mythical, generalized narratives, you see. And Nyaya is logic, you see. And Aristotle's syllogism has 3 steps. Indian syllogism has 5 steps. And what is remarkable is that in the Indian syllogism, there is a rooting to the observational fact. There is one element which says Drishtanta, give an example, and the example comes from observation. You see, for example, if you see smoke, there must be fire, because wherever there is fire, there is smoke. You see, so like this they go on. And as for example, in those days in the kitchen, these days of course you have gas, so you won't see any smoke there. But in those days when you गोबर जलता था और लकड़ी जलती थी, तो किचन में जब आग जलती थी तो धुआं होता था. That was the drishtanta. So logic also was related to ordinary life, but it is a 5-step syllogism rather than 3-step. And Mimamsa is analysis. Nyaya is logic, Mimamsa is analysis. It teaches how to analyze, analyticity, you see. And yoga is not just hatha yoga, you know, building your muscles. It's about cognition and cognitive processes, because the yoga claims that we follow all the steps. At the end of it, there are 2 results. Number 1, note the words, your mind acquires speed. Now, speed is a quality by which you define a computer, you know. इसकी speed ज़्यादा है. ये 5 है, इसमें 5 RAM लगे हुए हैं. RAM के RAM एक ही बात है, और इसमें 10 RAM लगे हुए हैं या 15 RAM लगे हुए हैं. इसकी speed ज़्यादा है. So your mind acquires the speed. And number 2, you are able to experience things without actually experiencing them. You develop that ability that you can infer generalized principles without actually undergoing the experiment. So these are the 18 Nigamas. Come to Agamas. Next. 18 Samhitas, which are Itihas, etc., and other mixed subjects. 18 Siddhantas. chemistry, etc. These 18 are sciences. All these 18 are sciences. I will, if I started putting all the lists everywhere, then you can imagine how many slides it will take. 18 Siddhantas are 18 sciences. Rasayan is chemistry, chemistry. And 6 Kalpas. Kalpas are sociology, social system, social thought. And C, Uttar, relevant for the north. Purva, relevant for the east. Dakshin, relevant for the south. Paschim, relevant for the west. And other Marg, relevant for central India, around Vidarbha. So, because as you know, that the social customs and practices vary from place to place, community to community. So the social sciences were, elaborately studied. It is unfortunate that Indian universities only Durkheim पढ़ाते हैं और West की 2-4 अंग्रेजी की किताबें पढ़ाते हैं. Nobody teaches Dharma Shastras, Griha Sutras and Dharma Sutras and all that. We have a massive body of sociological literature, you see, and you cannot understand Indian society without reading them. And then the Yamalas, Vrishti Vijnana, the science of rain making, and other Nimittikas, other instrumental sciences like making fire, like quelling fire, quelling the forest fire, or making the water bodies retain their water for long. Like this, these are practical sciences. There's Nimittika. Nimittika were instrumental sciences. You see? And then 8 Damaras, Nivarana Sahita Abhichara, Nivarana, of getting rid of things. 8 disciplines which deal with getting rid of things, getting rid of danger, getting rid of fire, getting rid of illness, like this. And 34 Mani Mantra Aushadhis, 34 sciences which deal with what the stones, precious stones, can do to the human body, or the mantras. As you know, in the marriages, mantras are invoked. People, in every auspicious occasion, or even in death, the mantras are, for example, as they say, like, there are many. Anyways, there's no time to go into marriage or death. But, you have the mantras for marriage and you have mantras for death. And Aushadhis, there are sciences which deal with, plants, herbal plants, and what effect they have. So you have 120 Agamas. And go next. Here, this is where I want to focus. These are 64 Divya Vidyas, extraordinary sciences. I want to focus on these because these are threshold sciences. These are not sciences which are based on observation. These are not sciences which have been cultivated by reason. And these are not sciences which you can qualify, quantify, and digitize, and so on and so on and so on. How do you arrive at these abilities? How do you arrive at this knowledge? These are these are threshold sciences. What the West says, threshold sciences. Some of you must be aware that following Heidegger and the hermeneutics and Husserl and Heidegger, in Europe after World War II, they realized that their destructive science has reached the limit. And they have now to take a leap. They have to go beyond this. And you can go beyond this only if you start working on consciousness, Chetana, Chaitanya. That is knowledge and abilities, sciences which are cultivated by consciousness, you see, by the human mind, by the human senses, by the human body, you see. And they are not based on quantification or something. Now they are divided into 4 types. Manas, those of the mind. Daivika, related to extraordinary powers, gods, let us say, but not gods really, extraordinary. Yagika, which come from certain sacrifices. You do some anusthana and you produce something. And Bhautika, physical. 4 types of these Divya Vidyas. Given that all the 4 above have 16 subtypes. So there the knowledge that demonstrates self-empowerment is of 64 types. Now, this is an important word. Self-empowerment. All these knowledge systems empower the individual. He gains power over himself, over the physical world, over the environment, and over the human beings. There is no limit. That the self-empowerment is of 64 kinds. Now, these were first envisioned by the rishis of India. And because of them, India was considered the guru of the world. And not because of Rasayan Shastra, metallurgy, or architecture. Well, those are available everywhere. But these are not available anywhere. These originated in India, and they are part of India. Many of these have been lost. But many of them, these have moved into, let's say, magic. Some have moved into something else. But you can find example of each one of them. Even today, somewhere or the other in India, you can find a person who is a master of these.